Okay, so now we're using ratio to share a given amount. So this time we know that we can share £95 in the ratio of 3:2. So how I taught you in the lesson was to kind of give yourself your column headings. So here we've got Stephen and Ray, and over here we're going to have our totals. In this line, we're going to have our ratios, and in this line, we're going to have our pounds. So we know the ratios for Stephen and Ray are 3:2. We know the total amount of money we have is 95. The total of the ratios, if we add these together, 3 plus 2 is 5, and 5 goes into 95 19 times. So if we times by 19, we need to times by 19 here. So 2 times 19 is 38, and 3 times 19 is 57, and those two amounts there total 95, so we know we're right. So Stephen gets £57 and Ray gets 38. Now, share 4.5 tonnes of coal between Mr. Allen and Mr. Benson in the ratio of 5:4. So same thing, we're going to draw ourselves our little table, and we're going to have, I'm going to do A for Mr. Allen and B for Mr. Benson. My totals are going to go over here, my ratios here, and my tonnes here. So I know that the ratios are 5:4, and those ratios total 9, and I'm dividing that into 4.5 tonnes. So if I turn that back into kilograms, that would be 4,500 kilograms, because there are 1,000 kilograms in a tonne. Now 9 goes into 4,500 500 times. So I'm going to times by 500 here and here. So 4 times 500 would be 2,000, and 5 times 500 would be 2,500. So Mr. Allen is getting 2.5 tonnes, and Mr. Benson is getting 2 tonnes. Now with number 3, 68 dog biscuits are shared between Rover and Butch in a ratio of 1:1. How much did each dog get? So again, you can draw your little table. So we've got Rover and we've got Butch, and there's a ratio of 1:1, and we've got our totals over here. So our ratios add up to 2, our dog biscuits add up to 68, 2 goes into 68 34 times, so we're going to have 34 biscuits for Rover and 34 biscuits for Butch. On to question 4. A prize of £1,000 is shared between 3 people in the ratio of 5:2:1. How much money does each person receive? So I've got my ratios of 5:2:1. My totals go over here. My ratios total 8, and my money is equal to £1,000. If I divide 8 into 1,000, it goes in 125 times. So I need to times each of these by 125. So I would have 125 here. I would have 250 here, and I would have 625 here. And altogether, 600, 200, 800, 900, they will add up to 1,000. So I know that I have shared them correctly. Share 75 chocolates between Lucy, Emma and Lucy in a ratio of 11:4. So again, divide up, and if we have totals here, and we have Emma and we have Lucy, our ratios will go here and our chocolates will go here. So we have 11:4, those ratios add up to 15. The total number of chocolates I have is 75. 15 goes into 75 5 times, so 15 times 5 is 75, so 4 times 5 is 20, and 11 times 5 is 55, and they add up to the 75. So I know that Emma gets 55 and Lucy gets 20. So number 6, 3 sides of a triangle and a ratio of 3:4:5. If the total length of all sides is 40.8, what is the length of the longest side? So again, stick it all into a table, and we know that the ratios are 3:4:5. to 5, and they all add up together to 12. I'm going to take this into, I'm going to take the decimal point out and call it 408. So 412 into 408, come over here, do a bus stop. So 12 goes into 43 times with the remainder of 4, and 12 goes into 48 4 times. So we're going to times each of the ratios by 34, because to get from my total shares to my total millimeters currently, I'm timesing by 34. So 3 times 34 would be 102. 4 times 34 would be 136. 5 times 34, 170. And if we add all those together, so that would be 270, 306, 408, so that all adds up. Put your decimal points back in now. So we should have 1 decimal place in each one. So we've got 17.0, 40.8. Now, what is the length of the longest side? The length of your longest side there is 17 centimetres. So now on to number 7. 2 gardeners shared a plot of land in the ratio of 9 to 7. The size of the plot was 920 square metres. How much land did each gardener get? So again, draw your table. So you know your totals over here. And we've got ratios and land. So our ratios are 9 to 7. They total 16. The total amount of land we have is 920. So if we divide 920 by 16, so again, if you don't know your 16 times table, write it out down the side. So 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, that will be enough. So 16 goes into 92, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and you have 12 left over. And if you continue on from here, you would have 112 and 128. So 16 goes into 120, 5, 6, 7 times, and you would have a remainder of 8, which we're going to carry over. And 16 goes into 85 times, so 57.5. You would need to times each of these ratios here by 57.5. And 50, so do 575 times 9. Remember 1 decimal place in your answer. So 9 5s are 45, so 5 carry the 4. 9 7s are 63, plus the 4 is 67, carry the 6. 9 5s are 45, plus the 6 would be 51. So 1 decimal place, so we're going to have 517.5 for the largest one. And now we're going to do 575 times 7 with 1 decimal place in our answer. 7 5s are 35, carry the 3. 7 7s 49, plus the 3 is 52. And 7 5s are 35, plus the 5 would be 40. Decimal point in there, so 402.5, and they add up to the 920. So down to the last few questions. Robin, Stuart and William share a birthday cake in the ratio of 5 to 4 to 3. Find out how much of the cake each person receives, giving your answer as a fraction in its lowest terms. So we have Robin, Stuart and William, and they share a birthday cake. Their ratios are 5 to 4 to 3. And those ratios add up to 12. Now, you've got to give your answer as fractions in their lowest terms. So because the total pieces of cake equals 12, that is effectively your denominator. So you can just come along and do this. So Robin gets 5/12 of the cake, Stuart gets 4/12, and we can simplify that down. to, let me just change my pen colour, to 1/3. And William gets 3/12, which we can simplify down to 1/4. So Robin gets 5/12 of the cake, Stuart gets 1/3 of the cake, and William gets 1/4 of the cake. So that's how you would do that one there. Sarah worked out that over a whole year, for every 2 hours spent at school, 13 were spent not at school. If there are 8,760 hours in a year, how many hours in a year does she spend at school? So if we look here, we would have, again, you can do your totals. Your ratios are effectively 2 hours, so school and home. So for every 2 hours spent at school, you spend 13 hours not at school or home. I've just put home there, but not at school. If you add those together, they come to 15. The total number of hours in a year is 8,760. So we would need to divide 15 into that, and 8,760 divided by 15. 15 goes into 87 5 times. So 5 15s are 75. So we would carry 12 over. 15 goes into 126 8 times, and we would carry 6 across. And 15 goes into 64 times. So we're timesing by 584. So if we do 584 times 2, we will get 8, 6, carry 1, 1, 1. So we'll get 1,168 hours spent at school. And that's what they've asked you. How many hours does she spend at school? So your answer would be 1,168. Brian walked from his house to the bus stop. Then he travelled by bus to school. The times he took to walk and go by bus are in a ratio of 1 to 6. The whole journey took 42 minutes. How long did it take him to walk to the bus stop? So we have our total. We have our walk to bus ratio is 1 to 6. Okay, and I know walk comes first because it came first in here. So 1 to 6. Add them up, they come to 7. The total journey took 42 minutes. So 7 to 42. 7 goes into 42 6 times. It's asking how long did it take him to walk? So we would times both our ratios over here by 6. So 1 times 6 is 6, and 6 times 6 is 36. His walking time was 6 minutes.